Tesla shares plummeted 9% today after it released its quarter two earnings, which showed revenue was down 12% year over year and profit was down 16%, making that the steepest sales decline in over a decade. Now, CEO Elon Musk warned that the company may be facing a few rough quarters ahead due to the ending of U.S. EV tax credits and rising tariffs under the Trump administration. So in short, slowing sales, weakening earnings, and a loss of government incentives have all plummeted the stock today, and this is why we see such a drastic gap down and sell-off, leading to political uncertainty and scared investors. Now, what's this mean for Tesla's future, guys? What does this mean? Are we going to keep on plummeting? Are sellers going to continue its movement down? Or are buyers going to step in here? And are there any technical data points that we can go off of signaling why price may be going up? Now, starting this analysis on the weekly time frame, guys, very much so. Before we get into this analysis, the drop that you guys saw today, the 9% movement down Tesla made, is very much news-based and fundamental-based. We acknowledge that, and we're looking at the technicals where we could find a bounce and where price can really start to pick up steam again, given that we did have a very sharp move down. And if buyers can get in that control again, guys, we could be seeing a sharp correction. Now, what we see on the weekly time frame, very briefly, is that we see price really build up this steam, reaching all the way to that 488, kind of after consolidating, chopping around a bit. That 220 level being very important as we get under that, over that, under that, and back over that. And that's where you see that bounce around that level and huge movement up to that high of 488. Then we get in a very steep movement down, really retracing that entire movement. You see a mirroring movement down. Kind of get that double bottom of formations, and we see another leg up to around that 367 high. We kind of just chop around here, guys. Price gets a little bit tight, a lot of back and forth going on, and currently we trend at 305.30. We are still within this general formation here, and this most recent weekly candle has only engulfed one candle, showing that we still have a little bit of back and forth. And as long as buyers can really find that bottom, guys, we aren't in as much trouble as you might think. All right, guys, bringing it back to the daily, right, from a TA perspective, technicals alone, we saw, like we explained in our last Tesla video, these big movements up, these chop zones, big volatile movement up, getting a tight chop, move up, big move down. Once again, guys, we see a very similar pattern of price where we're seeing big moves up, chop, big moves up, chop, and big corrections up until the recent price action. That's what we covered in our last Tesla video. So we see these flag and pole-like structures get formed. But once we get back to the bottom around that 288 level, that previous kind of flag and pole-like structure, big move up, chop, and continue to move up, we see price come back down to this area here, but instead of finding ourselves in a volatile move up and a chop, we kind of just find some ascending support, and price really respects that support. And it's hit our price target like we had in the last video. Our price target was 333, and that would get to that range, kind of just riding that ascending support all the way there. So price did exactly what we thought it would. The bad part is that bad news and bad earnings report has come in and destroyed price, gapping us all the way down to that 305 level, retracing more than half of this ascending movement. So on that most recent candle, we do see that sellers push us even further down, but buyers do buy back in a little bit, given this tall lower wick. But nevertheless, very drastic movement down as we are 9% down on the day. But purely going off of technicals, guys, we have a very nice base at that 288. That's a very nice support level, given that once we got above that, guys, we really cranked price. After we fully got above that, you see price kind of get above it a little bit, gets rejected down. See it wick over it pretty strongly a couple times. And once we really get out of that zone, very nice green wide bar out, we see a continuation before we chop once again. So then we come back down to around that level, find that bottom, and then we bottom there. See that big movement up, chop, big continuation up. And once again, guys, tapping right around that level. And then we see nice, healthy price action. Given that we do have bad news and price could continue to fall for the next couple of days to week, it is nice knowing that we have a pretty strong support level at that 288 where we could find that bounce. See if buyers can get in some bullish momentum, guys, and try to push the stock back up. So not great news, but technical wise, we still are within this general range, right? We've seen that price was headed to that range of 333 and 367 where we see a little bit of chop here, a little bit of movement up and down, kind of an exit zone, but we do see some extended chop right here. And we explained in our last Tesla video, if we saw a movement into that zone, we definitely would be looking good and bullish to be hitting that 367. But given this price action, now we are focused on that bottom of 288, remaining in this zone of 333 and 288. As price has been very healthy overall, guys, after breaking out of that, mirroring sell-off movement after we got that big move up, we see nice bullish price action, right? We saw that big move up, chop, big move up, chop, attempt at another big move up, right? Kind of continuing that pattern there, guys, getting another big move up and possible chop, right? Kind of doing something like that, big move up, chop, continue that pattern. We don't get that, but we do see a retracement, but we don't retrace that full movement. We trace around half of that movement, getting back within that past consolidation range. And then we see another nice move up, make a new consolidation range, not here or not here. And then we see a nice continuation up. Can't reach that high that we previously hit. And we see a retracement, but we do create a higher low within that formation, still in an ascending profile. And that's where we find that nice change in price action, shift in momentum, where we get a nice tighter chop, right? Nothing too volatile like we saw in the past. We see buyers in ultimate control kind of just riding this ascending support. So we look very good from a technical perspective, and the buyers have been in that ultimate control for some time now. Given that movement down, I do think that we have some nice support levels. Yes, the news isn't going to help Tesla, right? If we keep on getting bad news, that's only going to affect the stock in a negative way, especially given that Elon did explain that he expects some rough quarters ahead, meaning that there might be more bad news cycling in with Tesla. So as long as there's bad news, it's going to negatively affect the stock. So it's very important to keep in mind when trading Tesla and when viewing technicals on the stock. We shifted from those volatile moves up in volatile chop into a nice cleaner, tighter price action with the bulls in ultimate control. But given that bad news, we've completely broken out of that range where we were trying to find that breakout, and we've retraced more than half of that movement there. So as long as bad news is cycling with Tesla, it can mess up technical setups. As we do close at 305, guys, finding a little bit of support around that 301 range, kind of where we got that big, nice green wide bar right here, guys, being the most prominent bar within this range, as well as being roughly around that gap up level as we continued our huge move up here. So we are in a general range where we could find a lot of support levels, guys, and places to bounce. I do think that given the bad news, we are going to see a little bit more downside, possibly to that 288, but I do think we get a bounce at that 288 or that 273, where we kind of came back down here after that nice movement up. We went all the way down, retraced, and we went back to this past consolidation zone before finding a very strong support level and blowing back up. So very likely in this case scenario that we do run back down to that 288, see if we can bounce there. And if we can't get that triple bounce like effect, could be coming back down to that 273, trying to find a bounce there and continue our way up. So if we break down from that 273, we would be headed back likely to that floor, being that 220 zone, creating an extremely massive sell-off and massive move down. But given how healthy Tesla's been, from a technical perspective, I don't exactly think we're going to get there, guys. I think that more likely case scenario is we do find support that 273 being the bottom. And if buyers could quickly step in here, we could be seeing a bounce at that 288. Very bad news, but always a chance that we do still hold higher within this formation and continue our ascending movement. All right, guys, now on the hourly, we see exactly what happened here. So we have these very volatile moves up and down, right? This is our most recent kind of flag and pole like range. Get that big move up. Chop in this range here. Someone has to win. Buyers win. Huge, beautiful green wide bar on the hourly. Try to use that resistance as support. Cannot do that. We flush down back to that 288 level, kind of get that double bottom effect. And then we find a change in price action and price momentum as we ride this ascending support up. Much more tighter, right? We're not as volatile. We don't see extreme volatile moves up from that movement. We just see a very nice clean chop here. And we begin to get tight on the top of this support here, looking for that breakout, right? We kind of top there once trying to break out. Cannot get that. And we look like we're trying to get that breakout with multiple candles on the hourly trying to test that there. But we end up flushing down after that bad news right around that 308 to 309 level, and we continue our movement a bit. We see buyers try to kind of step in here towards the end of the day. Bad news is going to gap down a stock, and bad news is going to try to push the stock further. But I would say I do like that we didn't see extreme continuation after that gap down. After we opened today, we didn't see extreme continuation to the downside. We see buyers try to step in here. So you guys, on Tesla in more recent times, it's very tough to get a great technical analysis, given that a lot of this is fundamental and a lot of this is news based. What we can see is still a overall healthy stock. News has negatively affected Tesla, but from a technical analysis perspective, we look good here, right? We still are in an overall uptrend. We've had these big moves up, chop, flag, and pole like structures. Very volatile manner, but then we find a shift in price action, riding this ascending support, looking like we were trying to get that breakout there. If we did reject that breakout in a normal market, we probably would have seen a nice move through there or a smaller pullback and retest and get a breakthrough. We will have to see within the next day or two of price if buyers can step in here, guys, if we can avoid a drastic move down. Given the health of this overall stock, I think there's a possibility we can. But if we continue to get bad news, guys, like I said, it's only going to negatively impact the stock. Pay attention to the next few days of price action. Bad news isn't great. And as far as Elon saying the next few quarters are going to be rough, that isn't a great sign. But we have to see what stock does from a technical analysis perspective. And price can remain somewhat healthy in a very bad news era and bad earnings era like we see right now. Definitely would be looking nice for the longer term picture. That's all I got for you guys today. If you want to see more Tesla content, make sure to like and subscribe. Let me know your price targets and predictions in the comments below. And as always, trade smart, and I'll see you all in the next one.